Good afternoon to you, Nzinga, and to our viewers at home. We're coming to you live from the Transnet Bargaining Council here in Gauteng, Johannesburg. That is where two senior CCMA commissioners have been appointed here on the ground to try and intervene and mediate in the dispute really between the employer and the two workers' unions, that being Transnet versus Untu and Satawu. Both of the parties are here, on the table, just trying to negotiate to try by all means to draft those picketing rules and just communication and mediation that could actually potentially see an end to this strike action. The workers' unions Untu and Satawu telling us this afternoon that their strike is in full swing in some parts of the country, saying that the outstanding feature here where this demonstration is concerned is the picketing rules, that they've really said that the delay is coming from the employer's side. But let's hear from the employer themselves, Transnet. I'm going to bring in the spokesperson for Transnet in the conversation now, Ayanda Shezi, who'll just let us in on the talks that are underway. We see that you're on a break at least, but the parties, from very early in the morning, just met here at the Bargaining Council to try and bridge that impasse. Let us in on what is happening here today.
Good day, Katlego, and to your viewers. Yes, that's correct. We are currently at the Bargaining Council under the auspices of the CCMA. The essence of why we are here today is to actually try and let the parties find each other, given the current impasse in the wage negotiations. We're hopeful that we are going to reach a resolution that balances our needs as a company in terms of affordability and sustainability, as well as the needs of the workers. The first item on the agenda today is to discuss and agree on the picketing rules as well as the picketing sites. The parties are now in caucus and we will be getting back into the meeting shortly.
We saw on Friday already Transnet approaching the Labour Court to try and intervene here in trying to block the strike action, something that the unions didn't take lying down by saying that the employer really is not prudent in the engagements here on the ground. Maybe let us in on the sticking point that forced the employer to even approach the Labour courts to try and intervene here.
The intention was not to block the strike. Let me just correct that. We just wanted the Labour Court to determine the notice period for the strike that we were given as the employer, as well as for us to engage on the picketing rules.
Are we seeing, though, as well that the demonstration is seemingly well underway? Let us in on really how is this doing to Transnet. We know very well that the economy hasn't been doing well for quite some time, and the state-owned entity has been in the receiving end of an economy that has not done well, and we're seeing now that our production is being disrupted. Here we're hearing of losses on a daily as that strike action continues on the ground. Let us in on really the impact that if this impasse continues will have on the entity itself.
It's unfortunate that we're at this point now, because we want to avoid mass industrial action on our part as a business. We know that we are under pressure operationally and financially, and for us we would like to conclude these talks that are happening currently as swiftly as possible so that we can get back to the business of moving the economy, which is what our mandate is.
The 4%, is it still where you are at this point in time as the employer? Could we see some room really for the CCMA that has been roped in to try and intervene in this regard? Could we see that maybe convincing the employer that at least this offer could be moved to something that is above inflation, really looking at what the workers on the ground have been calling for?
Katlego, it's still too early to indicate that. Let's let the parties engage, and then we will come out with what the final offer is.
Ayanda Shezi, thank you very much for your time. Ayanda is the spokesperson for Transnet, the employer here on the ground, really just talking about how the parties have been engaged in marathon talks from early in the morning to try by all means to halt the strike action that we are told is in full swing in some parts of the province and some parts of the country, really looking at those Transnet employees. About 54,000 of those employees belonging to Untu, the workers' union, and Satawu Those are their members on the ground that we are told have downed tools here. Also, the unions looking to the CCMA to really intervene in this regard to try bridge this impasse on the ground, saying that the more this continues also, it doesn't bode well for their members on the ground, but really resolute that they are hoping that the employer would be forced, as the strike gets in full swing, just to reconsider that 4% wage offer that is on the table, as the unions here on the ground are really calling for something between 12% and 13%, saying that they're not willing to accept anything less than that, and that hoping that the CCMA in this regard will be roped in here at the bargaining council to try and intervene here.